Hello everyone, I'm Brian Croydragon and welcome back to Vox Adventures. Yeah, got the new phone season starting right now, so let's just jump on into it. Oh, for God's sake. Jeez, my inventory needs some cleaning. So, what could I talk about today? A wonderful question. Well, I have made another document for my Carchemish series of stories. This one devoted to the stories themselves. Rather than a Bible about the characters, locations and stuff like that. I'm just, okay, 3 of them. Yeah, this is... I don't know. Well, it's supposed to be a homage to the... shows of my childhood. This series, I guess you could say it's like an episode guide. Hey. A guide or planner for the season, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm just intending it to be one season, so there you go. I mean, I've got a 3-parter, which, well, let me put it this way. A 3-parter equals a 30-chapter story, not 330. A 1-parter equals 10 chapters, 2 equals 20, you get the idea. In regards to how many parts a multi-parter would be, just add another 10 chapters. Just go in a circle. So, what do I have so far on the list? Resurrection and Death in the Water, which are already finished. Yeah, so might switch Miao Shung's dress from white to red, and that's her swimsuit. Because you know how it is, characters go through different color schemes in pre-production. Yeah, so to speak. Oh, jeez. Yes, Alex. Lay on my wrist. So yeah, Resurrection, Death in the Water, the Arcane Mr. O'Connor, which is in progress. Of course, have the three-part of the Banneret of the Anonymous Band of Canada, which is of course an antagonist title. But then again, the Carchemish series is an antagonist title itself. Yeah, that's it. Considering a two-parter, which means a 20-chapter story, of course, as I've told you, with a cliffhanger at the end of the 10th chapter. I mean, the bannerets of the Nullist Band of Canada will have cliffhangers at the end of the 10th and 20th chapters respectively. Oh, for God's sake. Where is the skeleton that's supposed to be shooting me? Here am I, just don't... Oh, there we go. I might do some work on the mental casting. I mean, yeah, for villains like Malachi Osborne, Paul Meredith, and Graydon Jasper, William Shatner, John Candy, Don Franks. Oh, what casting that would be if it was a real thing. And well, if this was made like some decades earlier, or if Don Franks or John Candy were still alive. Because honestly, I can really, how do I put this? That would be one of the, if using only actors from your country, like obviously Canada, in my case, think of who do you cast for in the major trifecta of villains for a villainous faction. The bannerets of the Nullist Band of Canada are of course based off of well, the KKK here in Canada. Of course I don't exactly know what's going on. I'm pretty sure they've been banned. Can I see, well, how do I put it, William Malachi Osborne, who I of course mentally cast William Shatner in the role of, because, well, I primarily picture my stories as animation, traditional hand-drawn animation. And I say to myself, okay, well let's think of it this way. Can you see the guy playing, can you see the actor doing it both in live action and through voice acting? So I say to myself, yes, I can see William Shatner playing a collaborator with a public collaborator with a KKK stand-in. John Candy as Paul Meredith, another ally of the KKK stand-in. Yeah, both physically and vocally, I can see it. Don Franks as an evil sorcerer who's 120 years old and a member of this KKK stand-in. Yeah, both physically and vocally I can see it. I mean, if you've ever read the Elseworld story, The Doom That Came to Gotham, you know what I have in mind for Malachi Osborne, what fate I have in mind for him. And if you're wondering what I mean, it's Harvey Dent's fate that I have in mind for him. Why? Because why the hell not? Get a bit eldritch. I'm definitely going to be redoing Ahab. I know it's supposed to be a rewrite of another story, but I just want it to be a bit more horror, a bit more sword and sorcery, and have some more environmental issues included. I mean, obviously, I always intended for it to be fantasy, but there's also other things that can be included. Back to the Carchemish series. I'm always thinking about things for Henry and Catherine's romance. For the Arcane Mr. O'Connor, I had them go to a reading of Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the appropriately named Jekyll Gardens. I mean, if London, England has Hyde Park, then somewhere in the world can have Jekyll Gardens. Excuse me one moment. Oh, jeez. Oh, you know what? Just do bat form. Yeah, so I'm currently reading the Travels of Marco Polo. Yes, I've read it before, but this is a different translation. It's quite good, quite good. Started watching the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series yesterday. I enjoyed the 2002 series when I was a kid. Haven't seen a lot of the 1983 series. Not calling it either the 2002 or this current series a remake of the previous of the 1980s series, because obviously the 1980s series was an adaptation of some comics, mini comics. So you really can't call what you can't call an a later adaptation a adaptation of an early one, because obviously that's not the original source material. And yeah, the designs do look fairly Fortnite-esque. It's weird. It's really, really weird. If I didn't know better, I think that whoever was in charge of Fortnite was just using a He-Man series to promote some new Fortnite line or something. Some new characters who are coming to Fortnite. Any voice actors I recognize? Yeah, obviously Yuri Lowenthal, Fred Tatasciore, I'm not sure how his name's pronounced. Ben Diskin as... Oh, well, it's not really much of a spoiler. Anyone familiar with the franchise knows that Skeletor is... or at least he is now, because he wasn't initially when the franchise began. He's Prince Adam's evil uncle Keldor. So again, not really a spoiler anymore. It's... oh, for God's sake, now what? It's just common franchise lore. I mean, I watched the 2002 series, so of course I know it. It's no big surprise. David K. as Cringer, aka Battle Cat, is welcome. He's a actor, of course, who I of course grew up listening to. He was Megatron in Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Transformers Armada, Transformers Energon, Transformers Cybertron. He basically became the voice for 2 Megatrons, because Beast Wars and Beast Machines are in the same continuity, and Transformers Armada, Energon, and Cybertron are in the same continuity. And excuse me one moment as I get the charger. David Kay actually he was one of the members of the Ocean Group, a Canadian voice acting company, primarily involved with dubbing of anime. And of course, he did of course voice Cronus in Clash of the Titans, one of the jewels of Canadian animation. But of course he did voice Optimus Prime in Transformers Animated. Voiced his fair share of anime characters. Provided the voice of Aquila for the English dub of the Russian adaptation of The Jungle Book. So yeah, he's got a varied roles. His type is varied. It's not just villains, it's not just heroes. In fact, unless you're Megatron, Optimus, Aquila, definitely leaders. And what's interesting here is that Cringer technically isn't a leader. He's more guardian, adoptive father, that type of thing. He's a father figure, and what I like about Cringer in this one is that he's Battle Cat in personality, both as Cringer and as Battle Cat. That's a nice thing. And what's funny is, as I said, David Kay was a member of the Ocean Group. And a majority of the voice actors for the 2002 He-Man series did come from the Ocean Group. The series was actually a Canadian-American co-production. And if you want something amusing, David Kay actually he didn't voice any characters in that series. I actually checked Wikipedia last night while I was watching it. Got through episodes 1 to 9. Yeah, no David Kay, but it's almost like this series is giving us the David Kay He-Man debut. Jeez, it's just something that we didn't get. I mean, it's nice to hear David Kay's voice. I mean, better late than never. Oh yeah, he was also Upton Julius for the video game Impossible Creatures. Julius being the main villain. yeah, the series is a bit more sci-fi than you'd expect from He-Man, which the Masters of the Universe franchise is typically equally science fiction, equal fantasy, but there seems to be a bit more of the science fiction side of things for this incarnation, but of course the New Adventures of He-Man was pretty sci-fi itself, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I did of course watch the New Adventures of He-Man, and not a lot, but I did see some episodes, and let's see here, pretty sure Canadian actor Gary Chalk was the voice of He-Man in that. Does that make the series co-production? Because that doesn't always... having a Canadian voice cast doesn't always qualify it for that. It's weird. Oh yeah, American Canadian productions. So yeah, it does count. And the original 80s show was strictly American. The New Adventures began in 1990, probably, yeah, September 10th to December 7th, 1990. Actually, hold on, maybe David K. had a... Doug Parker as Adam, Gary Chalk as He-Man. Okay, that's actually quite smart. Oh my god, Campbell Lane as Skeletor. That's... oh god, that's something I need to add to the list of characters to base Campbell Ward off of. Scott McNeil as Flipshot, Don Brown as Hydron and KO. Let's see here. Okay, here's an idea. Look at the cast. Oh really, Long John Baldry, he was the voice of Mistletoe in Toad Patrol. Yeah, no David K. in that either. And there were definitely Ocean Group actors in that, so I don't know, maybe he hadn't begun with them yet, or I don't know. But anyway, it's nice to finally see him in a He-Man Masters of the Universe production property. You know what I mean. Gary Chalk did, of course, go on to voice Man-at-Arms in the 2002 series. But yeah, Adam and He-Man being voiced by different actors, that's not a bad idea. I mean, of course with voice actors you need to have a few different voices, but eventually you can start to tell when it's someone. If you listen to someone long enough, you can tell when it's the same person doing a different voice. Frank Welker, magnificent actor. I can actually tell that there's some uh, overlap with some of the voices of what we call the Megatron voice. He, of course, I first encountered it, I mean, in this case, I mean, the earliest production I found it in was of course a Hanna-Barbera production, but I'm not sure if it was Scooby-Doo, because, yeah, he was a voice actor for Scooby-Doo, still is. Hey, Alex. So, I don't know if it was a Scooby-Doo series, or if it was for Hanna-Barbera's 1970s Last of the Mohicans special. What was that, 76? Where he voiced Mogra. And of course later he made it more famous as Megatron in Transformers. He reused the voice for Jeremiah Stewart and Johnny Quest, The Real Adventures. He brought the Megatron voice back, of course, for Transformers Prime with some modification to it. And that voice he actually reused for Odin in Avengers Assemble. So yeah, there's you can you listen long enough and you can tell that some actors reuse their voices. I mean, yeah, voices change over the years. I mean, listen to Mark Hamill Day One. Listen to Mark Hamill when he started off voicing the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, and go to one of his later performances like Arkham, that one based off that, whatever that bastard's name is, not Neil Gaiman, that guy looks like Rasputin rose from the dead or something. That idiot. Writer of Watchmen. Or even just Justice League Action, where of course he reprised his role as the Joker. Yeah, voices change over time. Even if you reuse a certain voice, the voice will eventually sound different given time. How did I get on this track? Yeah, whatever. Where did I start with? Gary Chalk? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the point I was making. Adam and Superman. Superman, what the hell? I mean, I mean, there's probably been a Superman, He-Man crossover in comics. I mean, I don't doubt it. If there's been a He-Man and Thundercats crossover, then good lord, there's probably been a Superman and He-Man one. In a way, I suppose it's kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. A lot of the time, the same actor is cast as the two. But in the 1986 Burbank Films Australia animated film, Jekyll and Hyde are voiced by two different actors. We know they're not the same. We know they're actually the same person. But everyone else isn't supposed to. It's kind of like with Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Have one actor voice one, have the other actor voice the other. If it involves a character taking on a different form, by all means, have it be that that it's have one actor voice one, have another actor voice the other. It just makes sense. I mean, it wouldn't make sense with the 1980s series, because good lord, that was the thinnest disguise ever. If I were to wear a different pair of glasses and a different shirt, would anyone not realize it's me? Would anyone watching this be wondering, who's that? Where did Brian Quaidragon go? Of course not. Yeah, Filmation had some good things, some bad things, but that was just the cheapest thing ever. Actually, back to Campbell Lane, did he voice any characters from the 2002 version of He-Man? Oh, for God's sake, what's this? It was just Gmail. American Canadian animated television series. I mean, yeah, of course, alphabetical order, it makes sense. Okay, Cam Clark's American, so what was I mean, American Canadian co-production, so of course, yeah, Don Brown's Canadian, so I don't know. Yeah, does it look like Campbell Lane was in that series? So yeah, that's three villains that I know of who Campbell Lane voiced. Rampage, Dr. X, and Skeletor. So I guess I have to add some Skeletor-esque lines to Campbell Ward. I don't know what that is I'm hearing. In all honesty, if I were to do a Masters of the Universe series, I'd probably draw from the New Adventures and the 2002 series. Yeah, definitely not the 80s series. I mean, I know everyone makes memes of that, but I don't want to make memes. I'd actually want to make a story. I want to make a story, not memes. I mean, that's basically me in a nutshell. I want to make a story, not memes. But I probably ought to take inspiration from the original mini comics. So no Prince Adam, He-Man using a battle axe. Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like swords, but where does it say that the hero can't be wielding an axe or something? Hey, Alex. How many heroes can I name who wield an axe? Call of Atlantis, Ivanhoe in the 1952 screen adaptation for the battle between him and Bois Guilbert. Thor in the MCU, of course, once he gets Stormbreaker. Yeah, give He-Man an axe. I know the sword is what he's mostly known for, but the sword did appear in the mini-comics, but that was not his weapon of choice. Which I don't know. It was like he had one half of it and Skeletor had the other half, and the sword was meant to be the key to Castle Grayskull. What are you doing turning it into his weapon? Yes, Alex. Lay on top of my right arm now. You can probably count the number of times I've found He-Man using an axe as his primary weapon. And I'll tell you how many times I've found him using an axe as his primary weapon. Outside of the mini-comics, 0. Okay. Well, that's enough about He-Man. What else can I talk about? I recently watched Sherlock Holmes Incident at Victoria Falls. Excellent 3-part miniseries. Part of the Sherlock Holmes The Golden Years duology. I've not seen the first part, set in Vienna, I think. I've not seen the first part of the duology. But Christopher Lee plays Sherlock Holmes. We also get Richard Todd as Lord Roberts, Joss Ackland as King Edward, and Claude Atkins as Theodore Roosevelt. Now, you probably only recognize the name of Christopher Lee. If you don't know who he is, he was this magnificent actor with a resume like a mile long. Off the top of my head, he was Count Dooku in Star Wars. He was Saruman in Peter Jackson's Middle-earth movies. Middle-earth adaptations. He was Dracula for Hammer. Also appeared in a non-Hammer film as Dracula. He played the dual role of Jekyll and Hyde, renamed Marlowe and Blake for I Monster, renamed because, well, gotta preserve the mystery somehow. He was King Haggard for the animated film The Last Unicorn. He appeared in Hugo as a train station bookstore owner. He actually played Sherlock Holmes a total of 3 times. You know, jeez, damn creeper. He was the title character in the 1959 version of The Mummy. He was Ramses in the 1995 film Moses. He was Rochefort in Richard Lester's 2-part adaptation of The Three Musketeers. The first being called The Three Musketeers, the second being called The Four Musketeers. And later reprised this one for The Return of the Musketeers. Yeah, he had many roles in his lifetime. As for Richard Todd, he actually before Brian Bedford voiced Robin Hood in Disney's animated adaptation, which was really just a repurposed adaptation of Reynard the Fox. Richard Todd actually first played him for Disney in a live-action film. The Story of Robin Hood and His Merry Men came out in 1952, the same year as that Ivanhoe adaptation I mentioned, which had Harold Warrender playing the character, but even just referring to him as Locksley, we know it's Robin Hood. Hey, Alex. As for Claude Akins, he played the character of Aldo in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And this was my first time seeing him out of makeup. And I'm not sure what was going on with his voice in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. I think the makeup might have muffled him a bit, but I don't know. Anyway, Sherlock Holmes Incident at Victoria Falls, excellent. Oh right, Joss Ackland. He's appeared in many things. I dare say if we don't lose him soon, because he's currently 93, I don't know. Hopefully he lives a bit longer than Christopher Lee did. Hopefully. I mean, he's outlived Ed Asner. He might outlive Christopher Plummer. Yeah, geez, I hope he lives a bit longer. He's voiced a few characters, he's played a few roles. He appeared in The Hunt for Red October, voiced Julius Caesar in the Julius Caesar episode of Shakespeare the Animated Tales. He was the voice of the Black Rabbit in Watership Down, the 1978 film. Yeah, he's got a long resume as well. And it's a really, really good mini-series. Sherlock Holmes incident at Victoria Falls. At one point they use a cheetah for a leopard, and that's for understandable reasons, because a cheetah is less dangerous than a leopard. But I don't know, it seems to be that idea that most people can't tell one big spotted cat from another. Something that I'm unfortunately familiar with. Going back to the 4th grade, someone saw a leopard, a picture of a leopard. They exclaimed, "Cheetah!" But of course I knew what it was. I can tell the difference between a leopard and a jaguar. I can tell the difference between both of those members of the Panthera family and the lone member of the Astrononyx family. I was able to tell the difference at a very young age, from like when I was 5. I mean, I guess it's kind of like how the show Zoo has used a serval kitten in the place of a young leopard. Show a small cat with spots and people will just believe what it is. Of course, I know what a serval looks like. I knew what a serval looked like ever since I was 6 years old. Great. Oh jeez, no. I watched that miniseries on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, I highly recommend it. It's a shame that Christopher Lee really got typecast as villains, because hero wounds are just magnificent. I've not seen a lot of his hero wounds, but I'm obviously interested in seeing them. I want to see his other performances as Sherlock Holmes. I want to see The Horror Express. I want to see The Devil Rides Out. I mean, on a technicality, I guess we can say his appearance is in Peter Jackson's The Hobbit. Yeah, I know Sherlock Holmes is typically identified with the Victorian era, but the Conan Doyle canon, I mean, obviously it started with the Victorian era, but by the last story, chronologically and canonically, well, it was set in 1914, at which point George V was king, monarch of Great Britain and all that. Britain, Canada, all these wonderful places. So really, if you're looking for something Sherlock Holmes related, do not just think Victorian era. I mean, yeah, I know. Sending Sherlock Holmes against Jack the Ripper, it's a popular thing, but yeah, it just goes to show what a hold the Victorian era has on a modern imagination. I mean, amusingly, I've not written a story set during the Victorian era, so obviously it's got no hold over my imagination. Will I ever write something set in the Victorian era? Possibly, if I find any inspiration. I found inspiration for the Roman Empire, the 1960s, World War One, not actually involving that war, but you know, that general time period. Okay, just hunt your spider or whatever. I've got a few. Eras. I've got ancient Hellas, that being Greece, of course. Specifically Minoan Crete. Also got post-World War II, 1940s specifically. I started playing Clue with friends, the video game. It's amusing, playing with first-time players. I mean, I don't know if it still counts if you've never played a video game but have played the board game, but in this case, I mean, it's someone who does not. It's when you're playing with someone who makes a guess before they've got all the answers. In which case, for the video game, you get you get eliminated. So recently, well, not too recently, of course, I did some two YouTube videos on the Minecraft Egyptian mythology mashup pack for Bedrock. One with Sam and Troy and the other by myself. And at the end of the one by myself, I, just as with the one with Sam and Troy, I finished up in the Temple of Thoth. And I was just curious about what the reflection was in the floor of the temple. As it turned out, it was actually black stained glass with the reflection actually being the entire temple recreated upside down. So yeah, that's a reflections in Minecraft. That's a lot of work. Next mashup pack I'm going to be doing a video on will be the Greek one, Greek mythology. What skin from the mashup pack round Simon Pride choose for me this time round with the Chinese one. It was Chong, the goddess Chong. For the Egyptian one, it was the Sphinx. So for the Greek one, could be anything. I mean, I've seen some videos of the Greek mythology pack, and I am not impressed that there are people who don't know the names of these things, like don't know what a satyr is, can't figure out that Heracles and Hercules are the same person. don't know what the labyrinth is. Oh, for God's sake. Just calling it a maze. Yeah, called Troy Horse Village. Just calling Medusa a guy. Yeah, good lord. Calling the Parthenon some pillared place. What am I doing? Or not even knowing what the Colossus of Rhodes is, or was in this case, considering it doesn't exist anymore. Or just not knowing what Mount Olympus is, just calling it a mountain. Yeah, okay. Minecraft not responding. What's going on here? Going back from the Carchemish series, I talk about the bannerets of the Anonymous Band of Canada a lot. Meant to be the most notable of the human villains, but of course I the other factions of course include the Moloch cult, which Campbell Ward is a member of. He's also a member of the National Unity Party, which is of course Canada's Nazi party. But that's more of a case of him planting himself in that group. There's the Carson organization, which was suggested by one of my readers. I've talked with him, and yeah, the head of that group, Evangeline Agassiz, is less. She was meant to be James Bond, a James Bond type villain like Blofeld, but of course I'm not familiar with Blofeld, haven't read any of the books he's in, haven't seen any of the films he's in. So now she's more of a female version of Le Chiffre, the chef, I think that's how it's pronounced. Jeez, haven't seen the Casino Royale film with Daniel Craig and haven't read the book. You'd think I'd know. So yeah, she's less supervillain and more big bad wannabe. And yeah, the latter motive is basically paying off a failed investment that she made with her business partner's money. Jeez, what even, Le Chiffre has actually got a fairly realistic motive. What even are Blofeld's motives? I don't even know anything about this character. He's just this... He's been parodied so many times, I just know him as this generic spy villain. So I've read Casino Royale, I've seen the film adaptation with Daniel Craig, I've seen The Living Daylights, and I've seen Die Another Day, and yeah, that's basically what I've read and seen in regards to James Bond. I've got a GoldenEye via emulation, the video game. You know, I've not played it yet, but that's also not Blofeld related at all. And you know what? I'm fine without being familiar. I'm fine not being familiar with Blofeld. I'm fine not being familiar with Dr. No. Characters like Le Chiffre. Go back to the starting villain, the first villain Bond ever faced, and that's where you'll find some good inspiration. Not someone like Blofeld who's been parodied to death. The aesthetic of the Carchemish series is primarily 1940s based, so uh, that's really something that you need to think of. What's the aesthetic and how does it work? Of course, being inspired by Batman the Animated Series, which primarily had a 1940s aesthetic, it makes sense. The series is meant to pay homage to shows from my childhood. And I actually quite like the 1940s aesthetic. Uh, Uniforms are actually 1960s based. Television is more 1950s. Helicopters are more 1980s. But we've got things mentioned like video. Video, robotics, things like that. There's plenty of non-1940s things mentioned, like post-1940s things. I mentioned author Bernard Cornwell. Who started writing in maybe the 80s, the 70s, maybe the 90s. I think it was the 80s actually. Well, I also mentioned quite a few 40s things, like some 1940s films, 48 specifically. Films from 1948. Because that's kind of what the aesthetic I primarily want, a post-World War II aesthetic. I mean, technically, we're living in a post-World War II world, so I guess even less qualifies, but you know what I mean, like immediate post-World War II. And I'm just saying it right now, but it's the villains that don't have green skin or don't have a Dick Tracy-esque, physical defect that you really have to look out for in the Carchemish series, because not all of them will have their souls on the outside of their body, so to speak. I mean, a lot of them will be green skinned, yes, and have physical defects. Or even both, but it's the ones that have neither that you really need to look out for. One of Henry's classmates, Andrew Lee, he's got a reptile-like, a scaly reptile-like skin disorder, and uh, don't want him to be green because Green Goblin homage has already been covered by Malachi and James Osborne, father and son, obviously. And while while obviously I intend for him to be a Hobgoblin homage, I can't have him be pale yellow because that would be racist. Andrew, he's half Korean, half Filipino in heritage. I am not crossing that line. I am not doing anything racist. I hate racism. I hate it, hate it, hate it. So I gotta find a different color to make his skin. Maybe orange? I don't know. Would that be racist? Oh jeez, like I even know. What color was an Alp skin? I have him nicknamed the Alp, just as I have Malachi and James nicknamed the Elves. But I know elves don't have never been portrayed with a green skin, at least not to my knowledge. I mean, I'll have to look that up. Or a reptile or scaly reptile-like skin, but still, I'm fine with calling them the elves. But an elf, that's something elf-like. Not sure if there was ever any statement on what their skin color is. I mean, I don't want him to be grey. I don't want Andrew to be grey. Yeah, I'm not feeling scaly grey skin either for Andrew. Yeah, maybe orange? Not entirely sure. Jeez. What should I talk about next? I gotta start writing down possible subjects for me to talk about. Otherwise I just get really quiet. Ahab, story, of course, is a rewrite of Ramu, Ronaman the Exalted, but of course I really dropped the ball on that one. I say that because actually, oh, hold on, caveman. Yeah, you better run. Should have run. Okay, so as I was saying, I really dropped the ball on that one due to well, Mu, as we understand it, is the mythical continent of Mu, the sunken land of Mu, whatever you want to call it, as originally created through a mistranslation by Augustus Laplongian. I'm not exactly sure how the last name's actually pronounced, but whatever. You know what's going on. Gmail, well anyway, Augustus Laplongian identified it with Atlantis, so naturally it should be in the Atlantic Ocean, and Atlantis was described as being beyond the Pillars of Hercules, and so it should be to the west. It shouldn't be anywhere near Greece. So what did I do? I put it somewhere near Crete. Yeah, jeez. Yeah, I really dropped the ball there, and that's one of the reasons why I felt a rewrite was really, really needed. Good lord, how do I make a mistake like that? I'm usually better than that. Of course, it's not as bad as the Submariner story, The Depths. I mean, it's a wonderful story, but what the hell is Atlantis doing in the Pacific Ocean? I mean, the Mariana Trench, I like that idea. That's why I decided to put Pacifica in it for Ahab, because meant to be a Namor and Aquaman homage. Bill Everett didn't actually intend for Atlantis to be where Namor came from. You can thank Stan Lee for that. And I mean that sarcastically. Bill Everett actually thought Atlantis was a real place that had not been discovered yet. He wanted Namor to come from a fictional place. And I don't think Atlantis actually exists. I think it was just a place Plato made up. But still, I want to stand on my own 2 feet, so that's why I thought, okay, so it's in the Pacific Ocean. It's in the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. What do I call this place? Round of Pacifica was good enough for Hanna-Barbera. And then it's good enough for me. I wasn't really feeling Ben Salem. I mean, where did Francis Bacon even say that came from? I don't. Where did Francis Bacon write that was supposed to be located? In his New Atlantis. Oh, like I even know. Like I can remember somewhere in the Pacific, but probably not anywhere near the Mariana Trench. So I just went with Pacifica. And I intend for Pacifica to be a rather boring place. I mean, yeah, it's in this eldritch location located at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, but it's meant to be a rather boring place, with the rest of the underwater world being amazing. Rather horror and sword and sorcery-esque, but amazing nonetheless. Also had to redesign the natural mermaids, so I looked up some horror portrayals of mermaids. So I borrowed the Eon Tail thing from another writer who I forget the name of. The bioluminescent hair. The size of a small boat thing. Yeah, all from another writer. The no nose and fanged mouth are from some manga. I mean, I'll probably have to look that up for for crediting purposes, for who inspired me. But anyway, I have their length as being 16 feet. Remember, these are natural born mermaids. Mermaids which are surface born mermaids, which is to mean girls or women who have found themselves transformed into mermaids. They're more normal size. No, they're regular size, but with just you know, a fish tail. They don't have the bioluminescent hair. They have noses. They don't have fangs. They don't have webbed hands. They don't have scaly skin. They don't have eon tails. They have, you know, the typical mermaid portrayal tail type thing. It's meant to show a difference between natural born and surface born. And of course, the Pacificans are, who I don't really have a name for. Maybe aquamatelets? I don't know. Aquamen, maybe? No, that name's taken. Good lord, I can't call them deep ones. I want to be independent from the Cthulhu mythos. The Cthulhu mythos. mean, yeah, their appearance is pretty heavily inspired by the deep ones, but still, I want them to have their own name. Uh, for the character of Ronaman, I'm definitely mentally casting John Vernon, who of course voiced Namor in the 1960s. Probably going to take some inspiration from the portrayals of Namor seen in Avengers United They Stand and Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Heroes. Ow. As for Aquaman, I don't know quite yet, just Aquaman in general. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe his Thriller in the Depths persona. If you're wondering which version I'm referencing, Sword of Atlantis. That's what you want to read. Also going to be taking inspiration from Namor's portrayal in the Depths, so Ronaman might not have any lines. Still trying to figure out the timeline thing. Well, that's all for today, everyone. I'm Brian Croydragon signing out. Oh, please just let me stop the recording.